Hello everyone, morning to all of you all. Gaurang Shah here from Geojit, and as I speak to all of you all this Monday morning to give you a brief about the market outlook this Monday morning for the week. Little bit of minor recovery, to be very honest, as I speak to all of you all between 9:30 and 9:45. There's been choppy also. We opened up with some positivity, then we went down. Again, we are trying to recover. So this choppiness and volatility is going to be the order of the day, friends, depending upon the news flows, purely news flows, and that too focused with one particular geography, that is West Asia, Middle East, Iran, Israel, US. Unfortunately, the crude oil has again bumped up to about $104, Brent and $99 or thereabout, NYMEX per barrel. And this has again caused worry in the emerging market. And the thing is, friends, that in this kind of a scenario, like we've discussed earlier, it is very difficult to have a view or an making a forward looking statement. Every hour is a breaking news. Every hour there is a new development. Every 24 hours there is a new tweet by the President of the United States of America, and the development has its reaction on the market. So it is going to be choppy, volatile, but since we have corrected almost about 11 to 12% on the Sensex and Nifty from the highest level to the levels where we are trading right now, there is approximately 11 to 12% correction. Some stock specific, sector specific, the corrections are a little bit deeper and larger. So there should be bounce back, but the most important thing is that how long that bounce back is going to stay alive, and how the short build up that will happen at any kind of recovery will push the markets down. So it's all going to be push and pull. My humble request to all the traders, whether you are going long or short, please keep your stop losses tight in place. The positivity news will bring the markets up, and the negativity news will push the markets down. So, and that range is going to be very wild, honestly speaking. So you may end up chopping yourself either ways, whether long or short, if you don't be disciplined and keep your stop losses in place. One good news is that over the last 2 days, Iran has in principally agreed to let Indian flagged vessels uh, sail through the Strait of Hormuz without much of danger. There are many more vessels which are at stake right now, but slowly, steadily, the backlog is getting cleared from Strait of Hormuz. So that's a positive sign. And some vessels have actually reached the shores of ports of India. About four of them, if I'm not mistaken. And there is a dialogue between the Indian government and the Iranian regime to let the commercial ships and along with that energy containers carrying crude oil and natural gas to pass by without any trouble or any kind of unforeseen situation or circumstances. So not that is good is going to take care of that huge demand that India normally has for the energy, but at least there is some positivity. That's the point that I'm trying to drive home. So now let's come to the market, friends. Once again, broadly the range remains very tight, and as I always we give you two levels: 23,000, 23,100 on the lower side, 23,300 to 23,500 on the higher side. And is just in case, friends, if we are on the downward trajectory because of the news flows, and if we break 23,000 and give a close below that, then I think you should add another 300 points on the downside. 22,700 is the level that we could see in case if 23,000 is broken and decisively given a close below that level. So be very careful, and traders need to be very, very cautious. India VIX has cooled off 3.10%. The level is 21.93. That's a little bit of respite from there as well. And rupee has seen a very minor strength of 0.02%, and the level is 92.44 rupees to $1. This also has a double-edged sword. On one side, you have crude oil prices above $100, and on the other side, you have rupee, which had hit a new all-time low. and now it's recovered a little bit. So the view on the crude oil, see, sometimes, friends, it becomes very difficult to give a view in a situation like this. So let's hope that the crude oil prices don't stay elevated and we see lower levels. And on the rupee-dollar equation, well, one just needs to be a little bit more patient and have some kind of positive news flows which will bring in a little bit of strength as far as USD INR is concerned. FI's relentless selling last entire week, domestic relentless buying last entire week, and actually domestic institutions have bought more than what the FI sold last week. And I think this will continue. This is also one of the reasons why the rupee is under pressure, because FIs have been selling and taking funds way back to their home country in dollar form. So that puts pressure. So try to reduce your short-term trades and try to have a little bit of more optimistic, matured, long-term investment time horizon. And generally speaking, friends, in situation like this, when crude oil prices go haywire above $100 a barrel, and the views are that 125, 150, some Iran general was talking about $200 a barrel about 3 days back. God knows. But in this kind of a scenario, manufacturing side gets a little bit pushed back, and services side gets a little bit of push in the front, because services sector is relatively insulated from any kind of direct negative impact of rising crude oil price, because they do not have anything to do with crude oil prices. But yes, they are part segment of the market, so they have to react. So this kind of market, friends, is a great opportunity to create wealth and allocate more capital towards your long-term investment. And with that perspective in mind, friends, we have come out with two investment ideas. Both of them are actually into services sector, the point that I was trying to highlight. Private sector bank, Axis Bank, came out with a decent set of numbers third quarter. Correction has actually given good valuation. So time to look at Axis Bank. And mind you, friends, a small disclosure before I go further with these recommendations, that all recommendations that I am sharing with you in this Geojit Spotlight video, they are a part of our fundamental research team recommendations long term. Our company Geojit or myself, we do not have any kind of personal investments, no financial interest, no conflict of interest, but we share investment ideas with our clients on similar lines. They might have their investment interest. So first one, as I was discussing, Axis Bank, private sector, good number, Q3, possibility of fourth quarter being better and next financial year even better. Time to look at phased out manner investment in Axis Bank, start at current levels and on dips buy. Second one is also service sector, but this is telecom service. Second largest player in India, Bharti Airtel, corrected from 2000 plus levels after the news of investment in non-core business, NBFC. And from that point onwards, it is still languishing on the lower side, because after that, the markets corrected because of the geopolitical situation. This is also, again, a great theme in terms of investment idea. Start at current levels and on dips, you go on adding it. These both investment ideas are with 12, 16, 18 months plus kind of time horizon. Don't do any BTST in this. No 3 months, 6 months view. Long term by definition is 1 year, 1.5, 2 year plus kind of time horizon. And disciplined way of investment in parts is something that is always advised by Geojit Investment. So start leveling and on dips, go on adding to it. Let's hope and pray that common sense, wisdom, and fine sense of judgment prevails upon three leaders from three countries: US, Israel, and Iran. And now this coalition forming thing that President Trump has been speaking about since yesterday and day, I think these are all some dangerous signs, because this is actually taking the posturing to the next level. So let's hope the escalation doesn't go up and de-escalation starts. And like I mentioned, wisdom, common sense, and fine sense of judgment should prevail upon these three leaders. Thank you very much for your patience, Yari. I'll see you again next week. Till then, please do take care of your health. Bye bye.